surrounds narration.
Can people hear me if I don't use the microphone?
Yes.
Right, let's try and do it the old-fashioned way. I'm very pleased to see so many people here today, and I'm very flattered to be included on a platform of Ilan and Karma and Rafif, because I'm just an everyday worker in the struggle. I'm not an elite academic like Ilan, like Karma. I've not got a history of dispossession like Rafif. I'm just here like you, trying to do what has to be done. I'm really pleased people have chosen to be here tonight and not to occupy LSX, which we all have the choice to do. I'm sure, like me, many of you have been at Occupy LSX, and it's part of the same struggle. There are parts of struggle against oppressive systems, through financial systems, through military systems, that stop all of us, British, Israeli, Palestinians, from living full, authentic lives. Now, most of you here are students. Those of you who aren't here, like me, are students of life. Students have an important role to play in this struggle. You have youth, you have energy, you have imagination. Do you? Yes. Come on, let's hear it. Do you?
Yes.
Right. People like me, we have bureaucratic experience. We have ideas about continuity. The problem about working with students is generations pass, generations go. What we need is a link between student movements and city movements, so we can have our stability, our experience, and your energy. And between those two, we can have a really effective struggle. Before I go on, I want to clarify some terminology that often gets confused. Jewish, Israeli, Zionist. People think they're the same. They're not. You can be a Jew without being an Israeli or a Zionist. You can be an Israeli without being a Jew or a Zionist. You can be a Zionist without being a Jew or an Israeli. Let me explain. I'm a Jew because my mother was a Jew. I didn't have any choice in the matter. But I'm Jewish according to rabbinic law. I still love my smoked salmon bagels. I'll still eat a salt beef sandwich with anybody. But I'm an atheist. So, but that's true, but I'm a Jewish atheist. And that's different to a Catholic atheist, or a Muslim atheist, or a Hindu atheist. We all bring our knowledge of our traditions with us to our new formation. But I'm saying I'm Jewish, I'm not an Israeli, I'm definitely not a Zionist. You can be an Israeli and not be a Jewish. 22% of Israelis are Palestinian, others are Filipinos and from everywhere. Only a vanishingly small proportion of the 22% of Palestinian Israelis are Zionists. There may be one somewhere. Have you met one? Okay, so you can be an Israeli without being Jewish or a Zionist, but you can also be a Zionist without being an Israeli or a Jew. Not only do we have Jewish Zionists, we have Christian Zionists. And many of them in America. We have too many of them in Britain. And if you think Jewish Israeli Zionists are scary, wow, the Christian ones have all read their Bible. In particular, they've read the last book of the Christian Bible, the Revelations of St. John the Divine. This is wonderful poetry. And if I could find Tobiah anywhere to smoke what he smoked, I'd be really delighted. However, it is not a good program for action. Maybe a good program for inaction. But they believe that it's necessary to gather all Jews together in the land of Zion, in Israel, so that they can be wiped out. They don't want to tell the Jews that. There's a real mismatch. Anyway, so they can be wiped out. Then there can be the rapture. And they can all rise to heaven, but naked. and given their thoughts about sexuality, most of them will die of shame anyway. But do keep this separate. Our enemy is Zionism as an ideology. It's the actions of the Israeli state. Israel always perplexes me. I wasn't very good at geography at school, one of my poorer subjects. But I do remember from school that Europe's up here, and that right-hand end of the Mediterranean isn't in Europe. Is that right? People are studying geography. Is that okay? Yep. Despite that, Israel is part of UEFA. It plays its football against European teams. It's member of the European Broadcast Union. This means they get the Eurovision Song Contest inflicted on them. And I think that's punishment enough for anybody. But they're also members of something called the European Research Area. The European Research Area is the EU countries, countries bordering the EU who are likely to become members, and Israel. Obviously, geography wasn't their strong point either. And this is really important because it means that Israel is part of the framework research collaborations. We know they're part of a research collaboration with King's College, with Ahava, and the students at King's are already mobilising to get that partnership ended. Well done, King's. We know there are collaborations with Technion, the most militarised of all the Israeli universities, and we'll be coming after them as well. If you want to find out what's happening in your university, the EU, being an open, unbureaucratic organisation, has a database, cordis.europa.eu. Look up your university, see what they are up to. The point about research collaborations is there are two things. They're about the creation of new knowledge, but even more, they're about knowledge transfer. I know from my own research how easy it is to find things out, how hard it is to get other people to know, understand, and to be able to use my discoveries. Research collaboration between Britain, France, Italy, Denmark, and Israel are ways of making knowledge developed in Europe available to the Israeli military and to the Israeli economy. It's also, of course, about normalisation. It's about trying to say that Israel is part of liberal European democratic tradition. I've been looking for it around locally, and I think it's around here somewhere. But they are not. They have a nationality based on ethnicity. Britain, for all its faults, does not. They have a legal system that systematically discriminates against 48 Palestinians and even more against 67 Palestinians. There are many things wrong with the legal system in Germany, but it's not like that. They are falsely claiming an identity with the European tradition they have not earned. The boycott call in universities is very specific, and we learned from our experience with South Africa. In South Africa, for a time, we were trying to identify good academics and bad academics. A morally senseless project. I cannot stand here and say, this academic in Haifa, even in Ampape, is a good person. That academic in Bar Ilan is not. I don't have the moral authority to do that. So what we're saying is an institutional boycott. We will not have institutional links, research links with Israeli universities. We will not publish in journals or referee for journals published in Israeli universities. We will not attend conferences in Israel or organised by Israeli universities. That's the boycott. It's not about people, it's about institutions. Boycott is mass, non-violent, civil society action in Europe and in America. It mirrors and it supports mass, non-violent, civil society action in the occupied territories. When you say Palestinian to most people, they've had it drummed into them. Palestinian terrorists, Palestinian terrorists, Palestinian terrorists. If that ever were true, it's a lie now. The pattern of action on the West Bank is of people trying to reclaim their territory, peacefully protesting the apartheid wall, saying that up with this we will not put. When people did similar things in the southern states of America in the 60s to get civil rights, when the dogs were set on people in Birmingham and in Jackson, we saw it on our television screens every single day. You do not see the similar actions of the Israeli border guards and defence forces on your televisions ever. It is censored so that people will not know what the mode of action in Palestine is, which is mass, civil society, non-violent action. And it is disgusting. If anyone here from media, shame on you. And I'll just finish with 3 questions. If not now, when? If not this, what? And if not us, who?